Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the CEO of the Dallas Express. It's a digital news outlet that is shaking up the media landscape. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I love this time that we live in where everything seems to be disrupted. Uber disrupted the taxi cab industry. Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry. And the media is changing every single day. Who thought a guy named Joe Rogan could have 100 million followers and beat 60 Minutes? None of us could have predicted that a decade ago. But the changing landscape of the media is something that my next guest knows very well because he's at the forefront. Chris Putnam is the CEO of Dallas Express. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jeff. Really excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I know everybody has heard Dallas Express. For those people who aren't familiar with it, tell us more.
Yeah, so Dallas Express is, as you described, an independent alternative news source here in Dallas, Texas. We actually serve, the wider DFW Metroplex as well, but there's a real concentration of stories and coverage, particularly with local civic events and politics here in Dallas. And it was, the origins are, our publisher is a philanthropist who just was very interested in improving certain elements of Dallas, or improving the crime situation, the homelessness situation, ensuring that we had the best education system absolutely possible for Dallas residents. And so it really evolved out of that, and the fact that there was a perspective that the existing local news outlet, the legacy news outlet, wasn't necessarily fulfilling that purpose in a fair and balanced way.
Yes. So we're going to scroll down the Express website. And as we scroll down, Chris, we'll talk about the kind of journalism you practice and what kind of stories attract your eye.
Yeah, sure. So again, one thing you'll notice about our model is it's very unique. We call it a hybrid aggregator model. So we actually generate 24 to 30 stories every day. Wow. By the way, the only media outlet, one of the only in the state that produces that many. The Dallas Morning News actually produces more, but they're a much larger organization, of course. We produce more than the Star Telegram, more than a lot of the state-related digital. So we're generating a lot of original local news on a daily basis. And, we definitely take a different approach than, again, the legacy media. I would argue that it's an approach that you would see more from a Joe Rogan, where both sides are being represented in kind of a, an equal way. And we go to great lengths to ensure that when we question anybody about an article, that we get the other side and present the other side. And so it's really just about kind of restoring basic journalistic ethics, the way that they used to exist, to the media in a media world that, a lot of readers no longer trust.
Yes.
I don't think it's a secret that, a lot of the local media in particular that we consider our competition, like the Dallas Morning News and the Fort Worth Star Telegram, just gone just insanely to the left. And our mission is not to be a right-wing alternative to that. It's just to be a fair, objective alternative to that with, the kind of rigid journalistic standards that used to be practiced in the industry.
Absolutely. We're going to show some video from our library of kind of the traditional legacy media. And when I look at this, we're both old enough to remember when the Dallas Morning News Sunday edition was very thick and substantial. And now it's kind of...
Well, I would argue it used to be the best newspaper in America.
Yeah.
For the longest time, until we kind of started down this woke, radical leftward, tilt.
And they've gotten very skimpy. Like if you go to 7-Eleven right now and buy the Dallas Morning News Wednesday edition, that happens to be when we're taping this, it's small. It looks like paper thin, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, well, to reinforce that point, actually, so the Dallas Morning News lost almost $5.5 million last quarter.
What?
And that's a loss. I want to make sure that I'm factually correct. It might have been 4.5, but that's accelerating a loss of $1.5 million from the same period of time a year ago. So the problem's getting worse. And the Star-Telegram in Fort Worth is owned by a New Jersey hedge fund that bought it out of bankruptcy, including the McClatchy brand, from a bankrupt California company.
Wow.
And they just recently announced that they're down to 3-day-a-week printing. They own no facilities, nothing. It is what's considered a harvest model in the private equity business, where the private equity company squeezes every last ounce of profit they can out of it to redirect to growth initiatives, and then it just eventually dies.
Yes.
And so it's incredibly dramatic, the change. The Star-Telegram, as an example, had 350,000, I think, roughly subscribers in the mid-'90s. This is per recent research in the Fort Worth Report, which is another alternative digital publication, very much like the Dallas Express in Tarrant County. And they're down to 27,000 subscribers.
Unbelievable.
And I have on any given day 60 to 100,000. I email 127,000 subscribers, different ones every day. We have close to 700,000 total, totally free, and I get 5 times that volume just on email opens on a daily basis.
Wow. Well, it reminds me of like Blockbuster. When Blockbuster was the king of the world, they were afraid of no one. But now their business model is kind of laughable. We're always going to drive through a rainstorm to rent a video, and how dare you not rewind? You get charged for not rewinding and a late fee. And now I'm sure our grandchildren will say, wait a minute, why did you do it that way? Why didn't you just stream it? So when you look at what you guys are doing to the news industry, talk about where you see everything going.
Well, I think we're starting to see it, right? As I mentioned, this Gallup poll said 9% of people trust the legacy media. And our success is really a microcosm of what we saw 2 weeks ago. I think the mainstream media, whether it's broadcast or cable or legacy print media, is really struggling to understand their identity and their influence.
Yes.
They're all on the same message. They basically have been 95%, affiliated with one political party and intolerant of any other opposing viewpoint. And I think that's lost a lot of people. I mean, the trust factor is just gone. And I think we saw reflected in the national outcome of that election, this really hard pivot towards alternative media. Joe Rogan, you mentioned, but there's many, many other examples. X is an example.
Yes.
And I just think that is the future, and it's not even the future. It's here now.
Yes.
Our own base has grown. Our readership base has grown 50% this year alone.
Unbelievable.
Just in the last 11 months. Yeah, and we're continuing to scale.
Okay.
And so, I don't see any going backwards at this point. And again, contrast that with what's going on in the legacy print media that is just literally dying before our eyes.
Yes. Okay, you also have a wildly popular podcast that is hosted by one of your owners, Sarah Bennett. We're going to put up just some...
To be clear, Sarah's one of our publishers. We're a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons we're able to provide it for free.
Sure. Okay, and she does a great job.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Talk about the kinds of subjects that she tackles on her show.
Yeah, so we actually just had a complete rebrand refresh of her podcast. It's called Let's Talk Local. Sarah is a very well-known philanthropist in town as well, incredibly involved in a number of civic and charitable organizations, and she's really focused on what we call our pillars, stories having to do with crime. She just recently interviewed one of the former police chiefs as an example, and the things that we need to do from a rational, productive basis to improve the crime situation in Dallas. Homelessness, productive solutions, not just leaving people on the street or moving them somewhere else, but like interviewing guests that have practical, productive solutions for solving some of these civic problems. And of course, she's also very well networked in the social community. Sure. And so you'll get the restaurant stuff and interior design stuff and real estate and all of that sort of thing. So She's really, I mean, in a lot of ways, the face of the Dallas Express, and I think it very much actually represents kind of our editorial point of view as well, because she's incredibly fair.
Yes.
And we don't do anything political without, again, having the opposing side represented, and so that's really important to us.
Well, congratulations on your success and practicing journalism with a capital J.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So
it's been fun.
We're almost out of time. So final thoughts. What would you like to leave the audience with?
Oh, I should mention, just last week, we got this incredible mention by Joe Rogan on his podcast. They were actually reviewing one of our stories, using one of our stories as a source. And Joe's like, what's the source again? And the guest was like, the Dallas Express News. And Joe's like, that's the #1 newspaper in the universe. Everybody's reading it. So we were incredibly excited about that, of course. And if you like that kind of format, I strongly encourage you to check out the Dallas Express. We are, again, 100% free. We like to say no paywalls, no narratives, just news.
Wow.
And there's a free app. There's a free app that you can download and get notifications, and a free daily newsletter as well. The key word there is free.
Love it. Well, congratulations on your success.
Thanks so much, Joe.
We're going to end with the website, which is dallasexpress.com, the great Chris Putnam. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you last time.